What's the most common crime that you deal with as a traffic cop?
Either drink driving, drug driving, or pursuits like stolen vehicles, Hanoi pursuits, where they steal your car keys from your house and make off in your high-powered car, and it's down to us to get it back. So then, that's what we're trained to do. So as soon as a burglary happens, we get all the information over the channels. We get all the ANPR reports, the camera activations, and then we're living in a world now with technology, so we're not literally 2 minutes behind it, and it's about us doing that and to bring it to a stop. So it's either burglaries, ongoing burglaries, stolen cars, and or drug driving.
The drink drug driving absolutely pisses me off. I just
Yeah,
can never understand why people do it, but it seems like it just the numbers increase year on year.
it's never
Like
going to go away.
it's so frustrating though because sure, like in my head, if I've had one drink, I'm not even gonna attempt to get behind the wheel. But you hear some people and like, oh, 2 pints, yeah, fine. But it doesn't work like that, does it? It works
No.
on like it's like your body itself, how it takes the alcohol
Yeah,
and
so
all that
it
stuff.
works. It works on micrograms of alcohol in your breath. So in theory, you have a glass of whiskey, run it around your mouth, spit it out, you're over limit. You haven't swallowed it
Okay.
because it's what's on your breath at the time. So that's how it works. So when someone goes, "Oh, I can have 3 pints and drive," well, you can't because it's what's on your breath. It's not, "Well, I don't feel drunk." It's not to do with you feeling drunk. This is what people don't get. It's what's the quantity that's on your breath. So that's as simple as I can make it. So when people have like a glass of wine, they can blow over straight away because it's not about what's in the system. It's what's in the throat, in the stomach, and in the mouth. And it's how many droplets coming out, and it's how many micrograms of alcohol are in those droplets. It's that simple, really.
So if someone refuses to do a roadside breath test, how do you go about that situation then?
It's instant arrest. You've got simple facts. If we pulled you over, we're saying now you've been stopped because obviously suspicion of drink driving. I'm requiring a breath sample by law. And then if they say, "Well, I'm not giving you one," right, you're locked up. So you've either got to produce one or you're arrested. And when you get to the station, it's like, right, we need a breath sample for you from an intoxilizer machine. And if they say, right, I'm not giving you one, it's a straight up charge. Excuse me, I just burped then. Straight up charge. And then when it goes to court, it's not an argument, it's a straight up disqualification. It's not, well, I didn't want to do one because of X, Y, and Z. It's just straight up, you've classed as failed to provide. So it goes straight in front of a judge, and the judge says, if you'd have done alcohol test in station, you might have blown under, and you might have blown just slightly over. So you'd have been given a 6 month disqualification or a £200 fine, but we'll never know that. But because you didn't blow, we're going to give you a 4 year disqualification and a £2,000 fine. So it's
So
instantly 4 times worse not to blow. So people
yeah.
think, well, I'm going to not blow and I'll get off of it. It's like the bigger the penalty, the bigger the fine.
So I didn't realize that there was a difference between like so what's the threshold there where you're over, but it's going to be a lesser fine or lesser sentence, whatever, compared to like the extreme ones like the 4 years.
So all fines are based on your wage in theory, or what you give back to the system. So if you look at Ant McPartland, he got, for Manton Deck, he got caught
Yes,
drinking
yeah.
driving, and I think he got something like an £80,000 fine because they do it on a percentage of your wage, but he's taking on millions of pounds a year. But if that were
Mm,
me, you got to find like 200 quid. Do you
yeah.
see what I mean? But it's because of what they put on, or it's wage related. So just say, for instance, the legal limit's 35 micrograms. So you've got what 35 micrograms in your breath, but you don't get charged up to 39. So
All right,
anything,
okay.
so you blow at roadside, you blow 42. You're arrested, taken to the police station. That's a screening device. You put on the intoxilizer. You blow on the intoxilizer device, and the legal limit's 35. But if it goes up to 39, you're not charged. You're free to go. But they won't let you go until your level goes below 35 because you might just go get in another car. 40 and above is a charge. But if you blow on 40, 41, is that the same as blowing 172?
Yeah.
You're
It's
just
it's
over the threshold.
incomparable.
Yeah, so you're just over the threshold of not being charged. So when it goes to court, they will be saying he's blown 40, he's just over the threshold. He's not really what you call drunk. He's just literally, he's got that little bit of micrograms extra in his breath. That's difference to being 10 times over limit. So that's
Yeah.
what they'll they'll decide at the time. But it's down to magistrates and CPS and everyone to deal with that.
I just watched your video before, actually, the one that you put out on the difference between like magistrates court and Crown Court, and I actually never knew there was a difference.
Yeah, there's civil court, there's coroner's court, but I didn't want to go into that. I could do that another time, but yeah, there's a massive difference, and everyone gets technically sent to magistrates court. So we always deal with OPLs in magistrates court, drink drivers in magistrates court. The only time we won't do is if it's a serious offence or they've been caught I think it's 3 times now or 4 times, because that's prisonable. So they'll probably
Yeah.
send them straight to magistrates court and say, right, we're going to sentence you to magistrates court because you're going to get a big fine and you're going to get a good prison sentence. We think it's going to be longer than 6 months.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I remember watching one of the Interceptor episodes where there was a guy who stole his brother's Audi, and it ended up over a railing at a traffic light.
the white one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I remember you taking the piss a bit, like your brother's gonna fucking kill you, and it
Yeah.
was like, but I was just thinking when I was watching, I was like, what did he think what was he doing to get it? Like, as it was, like it was literally lopsided on a railing, crashed into a traffic light, like. So you wonder what goes through some people's heads, because that was just fucking
But
stupid.
that's what I'm on about. That's Bradford mentality for you. People make off just for the sake of making off. And everyone thinks
Yeah.
because they're in a Golf R or they're in an S3, they can drive. But your car is only kitted out to drive. This is what people don't realise, at a certain place, time, temperature, and speed on road. It's like your car will do all that driving for you, and it'll get to a certain point and say a car can only go around a certain corner at a certain speed, regardless of what car you're in. So you might go around in a Golf R, and Golf R will go around at 90 mile an hour around this corner. But that's the max it can go around. But that's if it's at 24 degrees on the road and it's dry. If it's 23 degrees on the road and it's slightly damp, it might go around at 72 mile an hour. But everyone thinks, oh, I got around there last time at 93. I'm going to go around there at 93. And everyone thinks that they can drive because their cars can do certain things and the high performance interior other cars. And it's only when you get to a junction thinking, hang on a minute, I'm going like 90 mile an hour in a 20 mile an hour limit. Your car, no matter what car you're in, is not going to stop in that distance. So that's what kills all these drivers in Bradford, or seriously injures or maims them, because they just think it's a play area, and then everyone else can do it, so I'm going to do it, and then they end up either killing themselves, killing someone else, or wrapping the car on a tree.
Now, if you enjoyed this clip, please make sure to check out the full-length episode on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, as well as checking out other clips and other episodes over on the YouTube channel and the Spotify and Apple Podcast networks.